Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Call of Duty League playoffs, and there you see it at O'Donovan's Irish Pub, somewhere in Minneapolis, Minnesota. There is a very, very happy group of folks that are seeing their Røkkr boys move forward in the elimination game that we just saw moments ago, and another one that we're about to have. So we have got OpTic Chicago taking on the Florida Mutineers. I'll be honest with you, buddy, I didn't know if we would be in this exact moment, but here we are, an elimination game, loser of this series, like we saw last time, going out in top 8.
And this is going to be a great series, man, because when you think about the Florida roster, that's a team who started off stage 5 going 3-0.
Yeah.
They lost their very 2 next matches. They start off in losers bracket. So you never know what kind of team you're going to get. They have sparks of greatness, but then when they are losing, it's bad, man. And then they're going up against an OpTic team who I said in the beginning of the show has to start early. They have to start early, and unfortunately they didn't versus NYSL. They lose it all the way into game 5, but at least they showed life. They were able to find, at least win that map number 3 and map number 4 to give them some life, hopefully, into this one.
Initial thoughts. I mean, when we talk about this series, the way obviously Florida, this is their very first match. OpTic off of the game 5 loss versus NYSL. Early thoughts, who you taking?
I'm going OpTic 3-0. I think they
Okay.
come out here and make a statement. The green wall energy is about to be insane. Florida just got to be ready for it. Absolutely.
That's the big factor, too. If you're this Mutineers team, you're playing off against a roster that has previously already got off a match. Granted, they did lose it, but still, they've got 5 games under their belt, and you got to imagine that the green wall is going to be pretty angry coming into this match. But now it is time to introduce our teams, and for that, we throw it down to Golden Boy.
All right, folks, it's the last match of the day. I need some energy. How you doing? Yeah. All right, well, now it's time to bring out your first squad in our final matchup of the day. From the Sunshine State, it's the Florida Mutineers.
Big situation, and a nice 3-piece coming in from Big Wake.
Neptune is playing this, trying to bait him out, but aBeZy gets into a nice... aBeZy finally repositioned, but aBeZy
Just a little bit too much, but Neptune...
He's still got the war raging for P2 that Neptune is winning single-handedly. Great work. Again, looking at that mini-map, we know where they're coming from. These players do all round. But these boys have to get through skies.
You have to get through skies! What in the is this?
Welcome to the stage, the Florida Mutineers! The 8th and final team to get into champs with a 17 and 19 match record this season. Look out though for some big players from the Big Wake or Skies as well to pop off here on the main stage. An elimination matchup for the Florida Mutineers. It's going to be a tough one without a doubt. Your starting lineup: Skies, Neptune, Awakening, and Havoc. But now, it's time to bring out your second team. You know them. Oh, we have our rosters up. Sorry about that. I kind of got a little ahead of myself because you guys are so excited, right? There we go. There we go. We brought it back. Golden Boy always brings it back. All right, folks. Now it's time to get your second team out here. You know them. It's OpTic Chicago.
Bruce Almighty keeps it going. It's normal, looking fantastic. Envoy slaying his way through. Scump from up high, the king.
I'm out here doing what they thinking is irrational.
Really starting to run that score up.
I'm gonna make it back, I'm gonna make it back, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, OpTic Gaming are back. Chicago are a force to be reckoned with.
Welcome one more time to the stage, OpTic Chicago! Coming off of a nail-biter matchup against the New York Subliners, OpTic Chicago looking to fend off defeat here against the Florida Mutineers. Can they do it is a question on everyone's mind as we get ready for this epic confrontation between Florida and Chicago. Your lineup: Dashy, Envoy, Formal, and of course, the king, Scump himself. But now it is time to start this final matchup. Galen Center, can you please make some noise? I feel like the people over here and the people over there are not contributing. I said, make some noise! Let's send it over to your casters to kick this bad boy off.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. That's the kind of the excitement that we expect for a match of this magnitude. So that, as we mentioned, OpTic Chicago versus the Florida Mutineers. This is going to be a tense series because, as we said, OpTic, maybe for a lot of people, not a position we expect them to be in, and now versus the Mutineers group where it feels like you never know truly what to expect.
I know, but the good thing about it is that OpTic get their chance to play again today, because usually they lose their first match, they have to wait a whole nother day to redeem themselves, but they showed life in that series versus New York. They were able to fight back and completely dominate basically map number 3 and 4. So they have some early momentum. They just have to get it to start at least in the beginning of the series, because when you start late, it's going to be really hard. You're always down, and you have to try to fight back. But if they can fight early into this map number 1, I feel like they have a good chance.
Yeah, that game 1, always something to look out for, really for either of these teams, but specifically for the Green Walls. Now we're going to take a look at our game fuel keys to victory, and we're starting things off with the OpTic camp. Stub, what do you got for me?
Yeah, they need to come out strong against a well-seasoned hardpoint team in the Mutineers. And then also in S&D, it must be better. They lost to a team that just made a roster change. Like Clayster just came in for NYSL, and they didn't lose not 1, but 2 search and destroys all the way into game 5. And then Dashy, he needs to be more consistent, needs to have a more consistent performance across the series. We know he has a takeover potential. I feel like in the series versus New York, he just started off slow, man. When you start off slow, the stats are not going to be in your favor at all, man. He heated up towards the very end, but with a player of his caliber, you need him to start early.
Oh, without question. I think everybody knows the true talent and the takeover potential that a player like Bruce, like Dashy has. But now we'll go and step aside toward the Florida beginnings here as we look at their keys to victory here, presented by Game Fuel. First things first, need to overcome the hurdle in control. They went 1-5 in stage 5, and really Awakening and Neptune really struggled in that mode with 0.8 and 0.7 KDs. Also, Skies needs to be the Caesar Skies Bueno that we know. You look at those KDs across the board, he was top 5, if not first, in basically everything. And then finally, Havoc is their playmaker, especially in Search and Destroy. The Route Man really kind of struggled in that Search and Destroy mode, so you're looking at somebody like Colt to really make the overall difference. We talk about champs, we talk about big series elimination games. It doesn't always come down to your stars. It can be more of role players, certain guys who are a majority of the time considered X factors to get you through maps and ultimately get you the victory. But Stud, our maps and modes, our map vetoes, I'll throw it to you now. How do you feel about these?
Well, map 1 is scary for both teams. OpTic really enjoys it, but so does Florida. Florida sitting at 5-2 on the season on it, but as the series goes on, you got to keep in mind that they just played NYSL on Checkmate Control, on Apocalypse Hardpoint to force it all the way to a game 5.
And they won both, right.
Yeah, and that map number 2 in Standoff is one of OpTic's best Search and Destroy maps. So if Florida do not come out and take this map number 1, I see OpTic walking away with it.
I got to say, man, like, in terms of, at least from my perspective, I want to hear your thoughts as well. I really think so much of this, I mean, more than probably most series, this comes down to the first hard point. I mean, if you're OpTic, this is kind of a confidence builder, but if you're the Mutineer side, you can come out, shock OpTic, grab the early victory, then you got modes like Search and Destroy, you've got Control to really sit on. That is where upsets can be made. But it's Moscow Hardpoint to start off this elimination series. And folks, I'm gonna pose it to you once more. It's our final series of the day. I need you to get extra loud for this one because it's gonna be absolutely fantastic. The Florida Mutineers taking on OpTic Chicago. Somebody is going home top 8 and someone lives to see another day. The chants begin, and here we go, Stud. This is gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a great time, man. We're gonna start off with Mr. Caesar Skies Bueno. Hopefully today he decided to invest in his game because they're gonna need it. OpTic are coming in hot, trying to redeem themselves off of that first series. But here we go into the P1 hardpoint. You see the aggression coming in from OpTic on both sides, just trying to make it a contest fest. But early work coming in from that Esky side. Immediately, Envoy's trying to flip these spawns for that P2.
You've also noticed Envoy as well tries to make his way through the back. So not only are the Mutineers holding well from the front, they instantly shut down the flank probabilities that OpTic were looking to try and make happen. So well started off here from the Mutineers, and specifically Neptune. one of the best rookies so far throughout the year. One guy that we're constantly looking at, a player who can be kind of that second in charge as he ends off on 4-0. But that's got to be without question. So one of the players to look out for this Mutineers team, as Envoy looking great toward the backside of P2.
And this is great work because OpTic, they're trying to flip these spawns for that P2 hard point. You see a lot of pressure from Florida coming in from that street side, so it's all going to be on a formal. Fortunately, he's going to get some bad timing here. He's not going to be able to spot a couple players that are already pushed up towards street. But they don't know he's here either. It's all about the trigger discipline. He's able to find one, able to almost find the second, but Skies with great shots able to take him down. So now this might be a potential pinch getting set up as you see number 6, who is going to be awakening, spawning out towards the front.
That's just great work from Formal. Granted, you know, only walks away with one, but those final 2 players had to have about, like, what, 50 HP maybe combined. And so with that, they drop inside of the Boulevard. The rotation is in, and OpTic shutting the door right in the face of the Mutineers from the beginning. It is a 1-8 combined from Havoc and Awakening through our very first 2 hills. Chicago, a much different story off the rip here. And what very well could be a 70-8 lead coming in toward P3. Granted, from Mutineers, you've got a good rotation set up, but that is a great sign to see if you're an OpTic fan.
Definitely is, man. And it's Scump also on a 5 spree. The King is trying to pick up some early streaks, trying to close this one nice and easy. But he's working with his teammates here, trying to play the trade. Unfortunately, he's going to drop. Havoc and Neptune find 2. As long as they hold their kill cam, they should be able to spawn a little bit closer towards the middle of the map. But Florida, they're going to be fully set up for this P3 hardpoint. How long can they hold them?
I feel like the same thing can kind of be said for this Mutineers roster stud that we said really with this LA Thieves group. It's a matter of like, hey, hardpoint's great, search, destroy, control. That's where you can start to lack. So again, we talked about for the Mutineers how important this first hardpoint is in regards to upset potential, but specifically because this team, hardpoint has been their bread and butter.
Yeah, it really has been. And throughout all of Stage 5, control has not been existent, man. They are 1-5 in Stage 5, so they can't really rely on that game mode in that game mode number 3. But that's going to be 3 dead. Florida's still trying to hold. Dashy's able to find 2 from the front, though. But unfortunately, he's going to get traded. And with 20 seconds left, OpTic have to start thinking about that rotation towards that street side.
Yep, 15 seconds left. Mutineers off of some nice plays on the other end from Dashy. They are able to hold and at least make that score look that much better. Now it's the rotation toward Boulevard, and we'll step aside and go to a listen now with the Mutineers.
Watch out.
No. I have your slide out. Slide out.
Could be red, could be red.
Come around, slide.
Wait out. Two pillar.
Watch out, we can fuck Dashy. We can fuck Dashy on the bus. Other guys, we can fuck.
They both one shot.
Other guys, one shot. No, he naded me. He's still pillar. Wait,
Let's get
go.
buzz.
Stay alive, right. Come here. Safe and rest. Bank with me.
Could be my gold window.
I spawn bank. I flash the bank. Alright, flash the bus. Flash the bus. Gary, hook. He's there.
I have red.
Scump is there.
Tell me when to climb.
Scump weak.
I'm about to climb.
Laying down. What's pillar mat. Team kill.
Last guy front pillar.
Sit pillar.
He's front hill and one hit hill. Hill in front.
I'm coming from right now. Form 1 hill.
2 front. All three front. Bad. I'm gonna see if I can pinch this.
Are you still in hill? Right?
One's in gold. One shot gold. Scump is in our gold. Scump's in our gold.
Dillo is right. He's pinching pillars. Okay. Take our timing.
One's still rat. I'm challenging with you.
I'm in gold right now.
Rat. You hit rat. I'm nading.
Right, one shot rat. He's in gold. One shot in gold. Envoy.
I'm glove.
I'm watching bar.
I'm going right side bus.
Right side bus. Yo, he went to do.
Right as well. Front dead. One more bus. One more bus.
Nice, let's go, Bruno. I'm with you. One PSDs. Yeah. 100% Eskies. I'm about to try this on. Right side. Help me.
Well, the first set of rotations are in and done. It's great to see the Mutineers' perspectives, not only just the comps, but also their faces as well. But you gotta imagine the reactions, their faces, probably not looking the greatest given the score, but how'd you feel about the comms, though?
I felt like it was great. Even though they had the better spawns for that P4 hardpoint, they just could not get any time. OpTic were holding such a great job on that street hill, especially the AR. Scump is having himself a day, though. Let me tell you, especially in hardpoint. He's been going off all day long, and right now, OpTic, they have themselves a commanding lead. But with 20 seconds remaining on this P1 hardpoint, you already see what Formal and Dashy are trying to do. They're trying to flip these spawns, and that's going to be 3 down. Last player in this position is going to be Neptune. He has to try to finesse, but I think he might have snuck through. I don't think Formal's going to be able to read him, but as long as they can spot this player, they're going to be straight, and OpTic are able to find him, so now they're going to be able to secure those spawns for that P2 hardpoint.
Yeah, basically the same story as we saw in the first set of rotations. It was Florida with the advantage, but it's OpTic closing late. Just great plays and really overall great teamwork to be in these 2v2 situations multiple times. and to give yourself the advantage, but it's 156-76, and somebody from Florida has got to get going. We talk about it constantly throughout Stage 5. It was Skies, and then at times it would be Havoc, at times it would be Neptune, at times it would be Awakening, and so far it is really nobody stepping up to the plate for the most part, as it's Havoc that's able to walk away with one toward the apartments, but still, you got 25 seconds left. At the very least, the damage has been done from the Chicago side as they look to try to break on in, but you look at the spawns, you look at how things are going. Great, Florida. You're getting 15 seconds, but it's Chicago who are ready for next.
Yeah, that was not a great play from Florida. Obviously, you don't want to give up a majority of that time, but to have no one off the rotation towards that P3 hardpoint, OpTic are able to flip the spawns without even trying. So now they're going to be fully set up for P3 this time around, and they should be able to at least break that 200-point mark. You see the pressure coming in from Florida through that middle of the map, trying to push around the street side, but Scump, he's able to find one. Neptune with the trade, so now the pressure from Florida trying to come in from inner L.
See what they can really do with it. Dashy with 2, Envoy does get dropped for his troubles, but it's all 3 for Bruce. 16-10, having a great game, but that's actually going to be 4 in a row. I'll go and stop myself where I need to. Dashy, well-deserved to be on our perspectives now. We'll see if maybe streaks could be a potential. That would only be more of a negative on the side of Mutineers, as that'll be 5, nearly makes it 6. Awakening with 2, but of course, it is Envoy with the trade. Chicago can do no wrong, as that's Envoy with 3 to his name as well. 25 before we call this one a game, set, match for OpTic. And like we said, Mutineers, they've just not been able to get anything going. Players looking different ways, different perspectives. No real answer.
But now they're on the street hill. This is where they can get back into this, depending on their setup. You cannot drop the first early kill and start off in the trading process at a man disadvantage, but that's gonna be Scump, that's gonna be Dashy, and also Formal jumps in the party. That's gonna be 3 dead, 10 seconds away from closing out this map number 1.
Only a few seconds away. Can anybody from Florida break inside of the hill in time? Neptune for a quick contest, but he gets dropped right away. The trades favoring OpTic to start and favoring them to close. And how is that for a start to what could be an elimination bracket run? They answer big in the opening hardpoint. We talked about how important this map was, really for either of these teams, but specifically for the Mutineers. Their ability to get some upset potential going, to get some momentum on their side. But OpTic, from beginning to end, totally shut them out. I gotta take a look. I just saw the scorecard for a moment. I know there's a lot of players who went big. Look at Formal, who went 9-9. That's it. He just went 9-9. I mean, hey, you'll take it.
You didn't really have to do anything.
You didn't have to do anything.
OpTic were doing such a great job, especially off the rotations. When a game is like this, people are barely going positive. It's all on the teamwork. And you got to keep in mind, Florida also made that huge mistake towards that P2 hardpoint by 4 men hitting the front and not securing the spawns for the next hill. They did a great job the first go around on P3. They held it for like a good 55 seconds, but this time around they couldn't even touch it because OpTic were there early and they set up beautifully.
I mean, we talk about constantly with this Mutineers team, the talk has been established around, with Slack no longer being in this team a few stages ago, the idea of that end-game leader. Yeah. I know we talk about at times it can be Havoc, at times it can be Skies, different guys have really stepped up, but do you think that was the big point in regards to those P2 losses?
No, definitely not, man. That's just someone's got to know to play it right. Someone's got to rotate. Everyone just made the mistake without doing it, and that's unfortunate. They lose the first map.
They definitely do. A solid start here from OpTic Chicago. You see the reactions there from the team, all calm, cool, and collected. When we come back after the break, it is time for some good old search and destroy, and you know it well. It's going to be on Standoff.
Let's go. Out of the dust. A legend is born.
Call of Duty League is presented by Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming. Scump, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Welcome back, folks. It's our final series of day number 1 here at the Call of Duty League playoffs. It's championship weekend, and it is OpTic out of the gates, answering big in that Moscow hardpoint. But then I want to talk more about the Mutineers side, because this has really been the talking point around this roster. It's been the inconsistency. At times they're dominant, but also at times they are getting dominated. I mean, take a look at the record for the teams that are remaining in this tournament.
It's not good, man. Versus top competition is where they tend to struggle. You see the record versus Ultra 1-3. Versus New York, you got to keep in mind they reverse swept them at the Major 5 to eliminate them from the tournament. Just hasn't been good for these guys, and when they do not start off early into a series is when they do not see success. And when you're going into this map number 2 on a map like Standoff, this is one of OpTic's best search and destroys.
Yeah.
Like, if you're Florida, in order to keep your hopes alive of making it to tomorrow, you need to win this map. And a player that I'm looking at to really do so has to be Havoc, especially on a map like Standoff. Back alley can be his home. It all depends on if he's doing it with no hesitation, because these guys have tremendous plays. And OpTic, at least based off what we saw earlier in their search and destroy, they were hesitating a lot. So I'm excited to see both of these teams in search and destroy.
Yeah, I feel like I want to say that we've commented over the Mutineers on Standoff Search and Destroy, like at least like 3 or 4 times, or I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like you're always talking about Havoc, and a majority of the time, his scoreline indicates how this Mutineers team ends up performing. So without a doubt, Havoc, the player to look out for. I know some big numbers throughout Stage 5 Search and Destroy for the Mutineers was in regards to those first bloods. They were not successful a majority of the time in accruing them. We know on a map like Standoff how important those first bloods are, just in general in Search and Destroy, but Standoff specifically, it is quick to punish you if you don't start off well. So, like we said, Mutineers, a big map already for this team. Considering how the control record looks, the pressure now instantly put onto them. As we'll take a look at this crew coming in toward our first round, and they will be on the attack.
You got to keep in mind, guys, that this is a winner-go-home situation. Like, Florida needs to come out and win this map number 2. You can't give that much momentum on the side of OpTic, and this is a good way to start. Early aggression coming in towards this A bomb. Havoc pops the first blood, already with the man advantage. It's going to be a 4v3.
Yeah, we talked about it. What do we want to see? We want to see first bloods. We want to see Havoc play well. It just so happens to be that Havoc ends up finding the first blood. So all signs looking good for the Mutineers to start. But again, it is the early phases of the game. Neptune having a nice reply there on to Scump, and we'll get traded out. Now into the 1 versus 3, but it's Mutineers to start. It's Mutineers to end. A well-controlled early round off the start of Havoc's play.
I just love the aggression right there out of Florida, because you know, in the first round of a Search and Destroy, no one has a trophy system to work with. So they're going to use their tacticals to try to open up that bomb site. They do it beautifully. They pop that first blood onto Formal, and at that point, they just played the trades perfectly. They walk away with their very first offensive round. Great round right there out of Florida.
Yeah, as we said, you can take a picture of it, you can walk back. That's what you want to see out of the Mutineers. You want to see Havoc getting aggressive, getting racy. And he's able to be successful in that now. Let's take a look toward the OpTic side in regards to their attack. Formal versus Awakening, a fight we're going to see a decent amount so far throughout Standoff. Laying down the work with the Krig, as Neptune will have to distance back nades. Tacticals, utility, tossed out toward either side as a moment to breathe for a second from Envoy. Meanwhile, Scump goes towards the hay bale. He'll go and pop on up, but Neptune is there for double headshots. Back-to-back kills there from King Neptune, as now it's into the 2 versus 4. Dashy and Formal left.
Hey, you see Havoc. He already pushed up back alley. It's only a matter of time before he's able to at least get the timing on one of these players. With 40 seconds left, that bomb is going to be down all the way at that A bomb. Dashy's able to find one, so now it's a 3v2. But with 35 seconds left, Florida have the information that the bomb is going to be right in front of them. If you're Dashy or Formal, someone's got to take the risk. Someone's got to be able to find a kill here. Dashy with some early shots onto Sky's not able to pick up that kill. The time is just starting to dwindle. Got to keep in mind, OpTic had to find all these kills and plant this bomb.
Yeah, only a sliver of seconds beginning to remain. The likelihood of walking away this round starting to slip from their fingers, but Dashy realizes now's the time to make a play. Trying to take down Skies, does so with the pistol. That's going to be 2. Do they have the time to plant down the bomb? And they will. It's a successful plant, but Awakening, he takes down one. Formal hops off the bomb, and that will be a round for Mutineers. It's a scary situation in that moment. if you're Formal, you think, hey, I got to go for the challenge. That quick reaction, if he stays for the plant, maybe things could have been different. But in general, if you're Awakening, you'll take all the noise that you can get.
Just a clean round. You know, OpTic, they almost made it happen. Dashy goes huge with the aMBeZy able to find 2, but then Awakening knows the clock is going to come into play. Once he eliminates that one player, Formal, it was either he was going to stay on the bomb or hop off of it. Unfortunately, he hops off, wasn't able to get the trade for Florida 2 rounds straight.
See what the Mutineers have cooked up for us now. Here in their second attack, can it be 3-0 to start? That would be a great answer for them. But Formal lays down not just 1, but 2. Awakening and Neptune sent to the respawn screen. Havoc and Skies now all left up to them as Formal drops. It is a worthy exchange in the end. You take down 2, you drop yourself. You'll take it every day of the week. But Dashy getting caught off guard, he somehow stays alive. And this is now a dire situation for Mutineers. You cannot afford a trade. You have to take him down. And here comes the engagement. Successful one there for Caesar. As now it's a 2 versus 2. Bomb left over at A and 38 seconds on the clock.
Now it's a 2v2. Didn't really like that play out of Dashy though. Like, you want to stay with your teammates, play the numbers advantage. You already have the bomb down, all the information that you need. Unfortunately, he gets soloed out. So pressure's going to come in. You see Havoc and Skies slowly approaching towards that A bomb. Scump's going to be the only player here, though. Has to try to go big, able to spot one. Just has to stall time, try to allow Envoy to get back into the play. Havoc's going to be able to take down Scump. So now it's all on Envoy in a 1v2.
All left up to Dylan Envoy, 7 seconds. The plant has to be in, but they're not going to need it. Mutineers coming up clutch, and you see Havoc getting loud there for the comms. As we said, the guy who at times can take over in these search and destroys, and so far he has played great. 3-1 beginning for him. But as you said, it kind of gets back to that conversation. Dashy doesn't get picked apart there. How different the round could have gone.
Yeah, that's just a simple mistake, man. You have the man advantage, you have the bomb down, you have everything that you need. As long as you're playing the trade, that is the perfect way to play that round, and you will most likely see the success. But right there, once they soloed out Dashy, it was all about picking them apart in a 2v2 situation. They take down Scump, and then off the rotation, Envoy was just way too late. So now Florida, 3 rounds straight, looking great in the search and destroy so far.
Yeah, we'll see if they can keep it up. OpTic in desperate need to at least just get 1 round on the board to settle the score, get something going. See that +1 pop up on the scorecard as Havoc continues to reign throughout this back alley as he and Envoy. Somewhat of an exchange, a nade, an explosion, and with that, it's the distance back. Less than a minute left. And so far, Mutineers not wanting to give away too much information, or at least too much real estate. Neptune backs up, references back, and Chicago look to make their push.
You see Envoy, he's going to sneak right in the middle of the map, but unfortunately Skies is going to read it, so that's going to be another first blood going in favor of Florida. 35 seconds left, Skies is able to find the second, and just like that, it's a 4v2. All left up to Scump and Formal, T2P. Can they try to clutch up this round and get the first one on the board for OpTic?
Yeah, how big this could be, how the momentum would change, and that's the best way to start it off. Formal takes down Skies, and now Scump heavily dropped there by Neptune, and now it's all on to Formal. He gets picked apart as well. 4 rounds in, and all 4 of them going the way of Mutineers. I know Namos was talking about coming into this series, but about how he expects their search and destroy to be that much better. For you, what's really been the tell of the tape? What has been the overall difference maker that has given Florida all 4 of these?
They're just making a lot of mistakes on the side of OpTic, man. Like, they're not taking calculated risks. One thing that we've seen when OpTic's seen a lot of success in search and destroy is when Scump and Envoy are running around together like an army of 2. But right now, you're sitting at 0-4 for Envoy, 1-4 for Scump. They just keep on getting soloed out. You cannot allow that to happen. If it comes down to it, you're already down 0-4. Let's just 4-man push something.
Yeah. Played it out well, looking at the SMGs, but this time it's Dashy, and there's all 3. In need of a bounce back, and that's the way to get it. Havoc will at least take 1 for his troubles. How about 2? You've got to be kidding me. The reaction there is impeccable, and now a 1 versus 2. Scump and Dashy left. Bomb in a precarious spot, but you've got some time if you're the Mutineers, specifically if you're Havoc.
You're Havoc, this is the moment you live for. Like, the guy loves clutching in search and destroy. You come, you are breeded from this area of the game. But now with the bomb down in towards middle courtyard, Dashy and Scump doing the right play, making sure they're staying together, playing the trade. With 35 seconds left, they know that Havoc eventually has to grab this bomb and work towards one of the bomb sites to get it down.
And what's the plan? As we mentioned, this guy had so many search and destroy tournaments prepared for situations like this. Could be a 1 versus 4. Not today. OpTic answering back and finally getting one on the board. How quickly. How scary this got. One of the best plays I think we've seen. One of the better reactions that we've seen so far today. Just great work from Havoc. Nearly turns a 1v4, or rather a 1 versus 4. Turns it into a 1v2. Got a little bit scary, but that's what it takes. OpTic finally getting one to start, but we'll see what they can do off of it. As you mentioned, 1 and 5 from Envoy, 1 and 4 from Scump. Those two pick it up. How quickly things could start to change. The King with that bomb in hand, looking toward bottom, trying to hunt for some information, but yet to see anything.
Yeah, right now this B-bomb is completely given up on the side of Florida. It's looking like they're expecting a back alley push, but eventually they're going to give it up. Now it's time to play in towards middle Delhi. But so far, OpTic, they haven't really got a lot of map control. You have full control of A-bomb if you're Florida. You're watching the entire mid-map. The only thing that can be the opening right here is if they can pick up this kill in towards Delhi. Envoy's just going to hit it. He's just going to hit it. He hits with a nade, and he's able to open up that first blood, awakening there immediately, though, for the trade.
And that nade gets a little bit scary. Scump able to stay alive. A little bit better on HP than I thought, but 3 versus 3. Time starts to tick away for a moment, and with that, Chicago will focus their sights on which bomb they deem the best opportunity. Of course, it's going to be A. These guys with the first engagement, not able to take it. Dashy wins that. Neptune on the trade. 2 versus 2. And now Scump brings it to a 1v1.
Scump versus Awakening. 15 seconds left. Awakening's able to spot him, but the King goes huge. Able to clutch it up for OpTic and keep them into this game. 2 rounds now in a row for OpTic.
We'll get to watch this one again. Just see the ending moments here from Scump's perspective. As we said, walks away with the final 2 kills. And nice shots there on the big wig. Not an easy kill at any point, no matter what game mode you're in, specifically Search and Destroy. You don't get those opportunities all that often, but we talk about, I mean, you mentioned it. The day that Scump has had a great clutch there just to give OpTic a little bit more momentum after going down 0-4. He really has had a great year in Search and Destroy also.
He really has, man. He's been one of the most consistent players that we have in the entire CDL. But right there, that's going to be Dashy with the first blood, Havoc with the sticky nade. At least it wasn't on Scump this time around. Now it's going to force it to a 2v2. Envoy and Scump, the army of 2. This is exactly what we love to see, but that flash is going to come in. It's going to let them know that these players are being a little bit more aggressive towards that back alley. So it's time to wrap this back. Bomb is going to be down, though, in towards the middle of the map by the tank area. But you just see Envoy and Scump, they do not want to leave each other's hips. They want to be able to play this trade.
It's the SMGs of one side versus the ARs of the other. Awakening and Skies, Envoy and Scump, and Envoy does get picked apart. Skies is there for the read, and with that, and now leaves Scump into a 1 versus 2. All of that talk about Search and Destroy leads into this moment. A huge round in this game if you're OpTic. Does get the information that Sky, he knows where both of them are. He sees both of them where they went, so he knows with Awakening getting taken down, somewhat of where Sky's position happens to be. But with an SMG at this range, how do you look to play this? 30 seconds left, and Skies looks to venture on out now toward the bomb, and what a great moment this is for Skies just to get out of that spot. And now all of that information that Scump previously had gathered now is all out the window as time continues to tick away. Did he see Skies there? He might have spotted him, but Skies is just going to back up, play the time, and no matter how this one goes, it's going to be a round in favor of the Mutineers. You go on the 4 streak, but nonetheless, it is a huge round in this game. The swing run goes toward the way of the Mutineers, and they're finally able to get this distance.
That was just such a great play from Scump. Obviously, the trigger discipline there to watch both of those players try to cross back to the back of their spawn was a great play, but then Skies makes an even better play. He knows that Scump is in towards L wall. He realizes that he has to commit towards me. He has to either push out this flank, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. So he pushes straight through that A-bomb site, wrap backs toward the middle of the map, and now Florida win the round, now 1 away from tying the series up.
Just a great overall search and destroy performance from the Mutineers. As we set up 5 rounds to 2, you know, what could the closeout look like? And given the fact that they are on defense, this could be their best opportunity. Scump, with the objective in hand, has to watch Dashy fall toward the street. And with that opening pick, that only makes things more difficult if you are on the OpTic side. Neptune stationed in toward middle. You got one guy on tracks. I mean, really just the positioning of the Mutineers looking great so far, but can Envoy find the lane?
Down to 3v4. Neptune's in such a great position, right in the middle of the map. Should be able to call out this cross if any players try to cross towards that A-bomb. No one is giving up anything. Envoy's trying to sneak up the middle of the map. Neptune's in a great position, able to find him, but Scump immediately answers. Pretty sure that's Scump on a 5 spree, so he has the potential to pick up some streaks, but doesn't really matter if you don't win this round.
Without question, T2P in a position to clutch. Skies throwing the shoulder. Let's go ahead and get rid of that trophy and set up shop. Camp is set. And I'm not sure OpTic are looking for anybody else to join alongside them to win from Formal. He gets traded. Now it's all on to Scump, but from top grannies we go. Awakening with some extra shots to put away this S&D. A much needed answer here out of the Mutineers, and they will be able to secure it. The final digits come on through, and with that, it is a 6-2 win here out of Florida. We got a little bit worried after that first hard point. We said, okay, Mutineers now in somewhat of unfamiliar territory, but they're able to answer back. We had so many questions. Havoc, First Blood, different players stepping up, and we got exactly that stuff.
Yeah, Florida, they just dominated in the First Blood column. Like you see, Havoc sitting at 8-4. This is your most aggressive player on the map with that SMG. The guy goes dub positive. We ask for an answer. He immediately makes the call happen, shows the force team here. But on the opposite side for Chicago, I just feel like they're still making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
They didn't really learn anything from the first series that they played today versus New York. It was so many mistakes happening. It didn't really have the man advantage, and eventually it cost.
Yeah, if you escape from this series, if you're Coach Center, you got to be looking at the search and destroys, the little mistakes that they are making. But it's 1-1 with Control on checkmate up next.
Legendary. I'm legendary. Yeah, you know. Yeah. I'm legendary. You know. Let's go! Out of the dust, a legend is born. Born for the game. Born for the throne. I'm doing, hey, getting right to it. Yeah, the money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in just how I drew it. Yeah, you know what it is. Hey, we doing it big. Look up, there's no limit, no we cannot settle for this. I've been kicking game, Bruce Lee. You ain't in the game too weak. Make them feel the pain too deep. Tell them get out the kitchen, you can't take the heat. Yeah, can't stop, nah, won't stop. Yeah, it's been on live. You don't believe it, just watch.
Welcome back, folks. It is the Call of Duty League playoffs. We are nearly toward the end of day number 1, but we are 2 games deep into what is an elimination game. OpTic Chicago versus the Florida Mutineers. And on topic with Florida, when you think about this team, you're always talking about this guy on your screen. It is the man who has chosen to invest in his game, and clearly that has worked out quite well. So this guy has only gotten better and better by stage.
Every single stage, the guy's just improving. And right now, throughout stage 5, obviously it wasn't the best performance. They started off 3-0, so they were dominating every single team that they played. They lose the next 2, and then they ended up in losers bracket. Then they go up against a New York team that didn't have Clayster at the time, and they got reverse swept. But he's just been putting up some insane stats, man. 1.24, leading everyone in stage 5 currently.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable performance from Caesar Skies Bueno, and obviously he's always the guy that we're talking about when it comes down to this team. Really, the big talking point has been about the other 3 that you see on your screen. It's been about who can kind of be that second player in command. Can it be Big Wig? Obviously, can it be Havoc? Can it be Neptune? Like we mentioned, if it can be more of a team effort from this Florida roster, we talked about that inconsistency at times. That is where the consistency is, in fact, found. But take a look at our quick scope presented by Scump. But we're through a hard point. We're through the search and destroy. Now it's time to talk control, and this is very well dominated from the OpTic side still.
Yeah, OpTic are a little bit better at control, as you can see. 28 and 17 compared to 15 and 21. Just got to look at what Florida have done throughout stage 5, though. They have 1 and 5 in the last 6 controls that they've played. Yeah. Hasn't really been working. And if you're going into a checkmate control, OpTic just played this versus New York. It went down to 5 straight defensive wins, but OpTic are really comfortable on this one.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And on the other side for the Mutineers, you're not super comfortable, because if we look at the stage 5 numbers, Neptune at a 0.68, meanwhile Big Wig at a 0.85 throughout control in stage 5. So as we said, 2 of the guys normally who join alongside by Skies, not been there as of late. And we'll see how that can start to change things up a little bit. Hi, folks. We're happy to see you again. Leno and Study here on the cast. And as we said, man, elimination game does not get more tense than moments like this. And this is, I mean, we always talk about control, kind of the swing mode here, and I gotta say, I think it's absolutely going to be the case. If we see a Mutineers victory, how quickly that changes everything up, because they've got the hard point up next. Same thing can be said for OpTic.
Yeah, man, but you gotta keep in mind, Florida have just been struggling with this game mode. Yeah. Hopefully, when they've been practicing for like the last 2-3 weeks that they've had to lead up to this event, they have been putting work specifically in control, because they haven't seen a lot of success. Like we said, 1 and 5 throughout stage 5. OpTic really have already played this map. They're really feeling comfortable, and you can already see it. Top 5 control KDs on the season. You got both of your ARs on the side of OpTic.
That's gotta feel pretty good, I think.
Yeah, you gotta be feeling really good.
If you're an OpTic fan, you're sitting in the seats, you think like, okay, let's see how our control looks. And you're like, oh, we have 2 players in the top 5. We'll absolutely take that. And it's 2 ARs. We have checkmate up next. Yeah. We will absolutely take that.
Definitely will, man. But I'm just looking at Dashy and Formal, because at least based off of that last map, Dashy was trying to do a lot of individual plays. That's not where he sees a lot of success. This guy is the guy that's going to go in there and get the trade. If you drop, he's going to go in there and pop the 2-piece. That's what he does. And going into a map like checkmate, ARs can really dominate. They have 2 players in the top 5 KD. They just need to keep up that performance here.
And I know it was kind of more toward the beginning of the season, but it cannot be understated. The AR duo on the other side for the Mutineers has takeover potential, not just based off of maps, but based off of series. We know the numbers from Skies lately have been great. I think it's fair to say this is Awakening's opportunity, right? Being in this position, being in this moment, you find yourself at a 1-1. Again, we talked about this being an elimination game, this series being everything. I think you're looking at Big Wig to really, I guess you could say, kind of be that 4th AR in what is going to be a great match amongst the Krigs. I think if he shows up, Stud, this could be a wonderful control that could maybe go the way of the Mutineers, but it's hard to state. Like we said, that control record throughout stage 5 is hard to ignore.
Yeah, but I completely agree with you. I feel like Big Wig is the player that we need to watch, because ever since Skies has just hit this whole new level, he's investing in this game, doing something insane. Yeah. But I feel like ever since Skies has started taking off, Awakening has started to slow down. Right now, we're going to see him starting off with the AK-74U. You're on the offense, so it's all about attacking this plane and winning your initial fights.
Yeah, without a doubt, we'll see how the opening spread looks for either of our teams. Round number 1 inbound. Flex player indeed for Big Wig. Obviously going to see the 74U from time to time, as you called it, but it's Formal with the first blood. He and Dashy combined for 2, and that just already off the rip makes the Mutineers' job that much more difficult. However, Havoc on the other side toward the A Street, looking to get a little bit of business done toward at least one of our 3 lanes on this bad boy. As Awakening will dip out of top lane, that will now be in the hands Well, for a moment of OpTic Chicago, just as we say that, Mutineers with control over top plane. And so far, looking pretty decent at this A3.
Yeah, first aggression is already going to come in. OpTic doing a great job, though, of fighting through plane. That's going to be 2 players down. Neptune and Havoc, though, find 2 of their own. So the progression is continuously going up at this 8 point. But Scump with a huge one-on-one versus Havoc is only going to shut that down now. 58 seconds. They just have to get pushed up on the map and start setting up for a couple spawn kills.
Yeah, we know on a map like Checkmate, being on these attacks, it is so grueling, and that sequence right there very well could define how the remainder of this round begins to shape on out. OpTic instantly aware of the advantage that they most likely have. Really just trying to station yourself in the back of the base, pepper up a few of these players off of spawn, get them weak, don't allow for them to get 3 and 4 into any of these objectives, but Awakening could be the players to try and get on through a big win versus Dashy at the same time. That's gonna be 3 down. So maybe somewhat of a lane found. Scump still hanging out for the backside as he'll win a massive fight there versus Neptune. Objectives A and B both somewhat contested right now from the Mutineers, but Scump continuing to put pressure inside of the base. A trade back and forth, but a big one from Dashy, taking the head clean off there from Big Wig. A major fight toward the A3. It is mere seconds from this one going either which way, but it's the Mutineers who grab themselves an extra minute.
They were able to clutch up. Havoc goes huge with a tremendous 2-piece right there to at least finish out that 8 point. So now we have tied live advantage. I mean, no live advantage. Everyone's tied at 13 apiece. But the progression is starting to already work up on this B point. Sky's is able to find one. The trade's going to be there from Scump. They just have to keep the pressure on. You cannot allow to go 3 or 4 dead, because that's the opening that Florida are looking for.
You gotta be careful if you're OpTic. Again, these opening attacks, how often have we seen those lead in eventually to 3-0 victories, if not 3-1? You cannot afford to lose this if you're OpTic, especially off the start. But again, it's trades back and forth. Lives not too much of a factor at this current moment. Only one favoring the side of the Mutineers. But again, as much as we try to cover it, it always is changing from moment to moment. 2 nearly makes it 3 for OpTic in a row inside of that kill feed, but it is Skies there to trade it on out. Looking to get somewhat of a sequence going. Farthest pushed up player over toward the A Street, trying to get some positioning to really get somewhat of a crossfire inside of that top plane. But the job has to be done, but it's Dashy with a shot punch there onto Neptune, and Scump is there to wipe him away as well. It's a clean 3 down there out of the Mutineers as they look in some portions to scurry around. 5 more points, rather 5 more seconds left before this point comes to a close, but now it's into the 4 versus 4. That's gonna be 2 straight from Florida. And with that, things start to get a little bit dicey, but Chicago answers back in the best way possible. T2P, go big, and claim round number 1.
It's a great job right there at OpTic to not lose focus on the map, to make sure that you were keeping map control, especially Envoy popping that 2-piece, that 3-piece at that A Street was huge, because right there, Florida, they were starting to fight for full map control. And unfortunately, right there towards the very end, Awakening dies to his own trophy as they picked up 2 kills. They probably would have had the man advantage, probably the trade will be there, but OpTic, they show up, they clutch up on the defense.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Good overall performance with Scump getting involved in the base, and really just that one sequence, right, where Mutineers, they struggle. Really, once they get 3 or 4 down, Scump really makes things a little bit difficult. Just gotta be so careful on these attacks not to go 3 and 4 down, but on the opposite side, a solid performance off the rip in these initial fights, and a lot of times these can go somewhat under the radar, but a clean 4, you cannot ask for better than that if you're Chicago. Sky's somewhat of an awkward position, but he and Havoc are able to at least stay alive for 1. The trades favoring the Mutineers, and what was a 4-0 start from OpTic instantly gets traded back.
Nice work right there out of Florida to just break back in, especially Sky just staying alive in that corner the entire time. Him and Havoc working so well to shut down that A push. But now this is where the aggression turns on. Havoc is having himself a series, especially a map. 13 and 6 on a 4 spree. All the spawns are coming in towards back blue side. He's gonna realize that though. But Formal, he's that player that's sneaking through. He's gonna be able to shut him down. So that might be the opening that OpTic are looking for. But the clock's starting to tick. They have to get on one of these points to extend this time.
Let's see which one they choose to make their own. Trades are in from Florida, and the A Street somewhat cleared out. Only player here is going to be Dashy. He has a lot of work to do, but as he tries to dip on out, he also gets traded. An awkward spot for this OpTic group. 20 seconds left, and well, That is going to be 2 if you're the Mutineers. You look back at that play and say, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Neptune's position is going to be made known, so the clock will stop right at 15 seconds. Those 2 picks playing massive as Neptune's position. Like we said, it's known toward top lane. They clear him out. Their job gets that much easier. But Skies, it is strictly trades back and forth. Just trying to stay alive toward the end of the zone. It's going to be an all-out brawl. Back and forth we go, but it's the Mutineers that walk away with the trades. OpTic now cradling in the back of their base, and it is defense that wins out in our first 2.
Just great work right there out of Florida, especially Skies and Havoc. That 2-piece that they were able to pick up at his street was huge. And I think this is the play right here. Yeah, Havoc slides in, he gets the first one, and then that 2-piece onto Dashy. I'm pretty sure he picks up the 3rd as well onto Scump. Just great work to shut down that initial push from OpTic, because once you go 3 to 4 down right off the rip, you're expecting one of these matches to go immediately. But 2 players clutch up, they're able to win the defense, and you got to keep in mind if those segment complete, right now Florida are leading the way.
Yeah, without question. Like you said, it is kind of strange to see, like, you get 4 or 5 kills off the rip on attack. Normally you think, hey, we've surely got an objective, but as we know, Checkmate is a little bit of a different story from time to time, but here we go. Back-to-back defensive victories so far. Will it be a 3rd in a row? Is Dashy somewhat stationary, has to reposition, and how about that back-to-back headshots? Making it look simple, making it look easy, but gets stuck with the nade. Granted, does take down 1 before he leaves, so Bruce leaving his mark inside of the A Street, but as he falls, it then sets up a lane for Mutineers to hop on in.
But Formal going huge with that assault rifle back A Street, able to find that first blood onto Havoc. Now it's all on him and Dashy. They can try to find this kill onto Skies. Neptune as well, he picks up the 2nd. So now it's going to be all on Dashy and Envoy to relieve this pressure. Unfortunately, he's not able to close out that kill. Dashy does drop. They know the positioning of Envoy. He's able to take down 1, but the stack is going to come in. This 8 point is going to be moving pretty quickly.
See if OpTic are even going to be able to get toward the A Street or not. An accidental melee there from Scump. Has to back on up, and thankfully his SMG duo and Envoy will be there to join alongside of him. So while bottom plane is going to be clear, it was only one of the many lanes that the Mutineers were attacking. So that A Street does in fact go their way, and now they've got 1 minute and 30 on the clock for this attacking round. You always circle these, really, if you're either teams, that really kind of comes down to, is it going to be straight defenses who gets more of the objective done, or it's about that first attack, who can walk away with it? Mutineers in a pretty good position, but Dashy winning a major one toward the flank. Scump also taking down players inside of bottom plane. That's 2, make it 3 straight down there from Florida.
That's going to be all 4 dead. So now OpTic have the ability to get it pushed up on the map, put themselves in a potential situation to set up for a couple of these spawn kills. As Spawn did fine-tune the kill feed. Spawning all of Florida out towards back yellow. It's all about just keeping this pressure on it. Envoy's able to win a huge one-on-one. Unfortunately, he's going to get traded, but you're not really mad about it. As long as your teammates can hold, you do not want to go 3 down, and Formal responds with that kill onto Nep.
Nice shots there out of Matthew Piper. Mutineers, we'll see what they can do. They're just getting dropped, getting silenced from afar. Havoc having a great series. Sits at 18-13, now 19-13. Can he lead the charge? As we said, 30 seconds left. And that B point yet to really ultimately be touched. As Dashy continues to make work happen, that's going to be 2 for him. Mutineers silenced over at one side, and now pretty much siphoned in toward the bottom side of the street. But it's Dashy on one, and it's Scump on the other. Mutineers starting to scramble. One last push. Ready to go here on this attack. Can it be here? Live count somewhat even, so that shouldn't be a problem. But Formal from the top side of the wing. He gets dropped. Awakening there to take him down. 2 players inside of the point, but it's Envoy with all 3. And that will be the round, an exclamation point here in round 3.
That's a huge round right there from OpTic, just winning your defenses. That's what's been their success, at least based off the last series and so far here as well. That's 5 straight defenses on checkmate control for OpTic. Now it's all about having an answer on the offense. Obviously, they started off the last round with opening up with 2 kills, so that was great. And then eventually, it was just a trade situation when at that A Street with them not being able to take down Skies and Havoc. That's where it really was shut down, because at that point, Florida were able to push up and put themselves in the setup for those spawn kills. But with OpTic, you just need to have a good start off right here on this offense.
Yeah, we'll see what the initial phase looks like out of the OpTic Chicago boys, specifically for Mutineers. You're hoping that defense continues to reign true. And there you have it, Mutineers. It's a good answer, you know? Pretty good. You'll take that. Take it every day of the week. With that, as 2 players fall, Chicago now left to reposition. Now it's all down to the comms. What do we want to try to work on? What do we need to hit? Is it toward the top plane? Is it toward the A Street? And that's the best way to do it. Scump and Envoy together. Able to team shot toward the top side of the plane. Meanwhile, Dashy making some noise over at that A objective. Trades back and forth, but it's Envoy who ultimately ends up winning out for the most part. And Awakening drops from afar, Havoc inside of the base, but it's 3 down there from the Mutineers.
And now Formal working towards some potential streaks. That's going to be the multi-kill. OpTic are able to get on towards this 8-point. First tick progression already in. They have 2 players on it, so it's going a little bit quicker. But they're doing a great job at just eliminating these players out of their base. Second tick is in. Dashy with the trade. He has to try to go big, though. He's by himself. His teammate's trying to cross through the middle of the map to try to help him. Try to close out this 8-point. And Scump and Formal, T2P, they find 3. This can be beautiful. If OpTic can change this over, they can do it immediately. They can just get to this B point.
Yeah, Formal sitting now on 5 in a row. There's an 8-team streak there for Chicago that led toward that A objective going their way. They've got a few players toward the bottom wing with Formal sitting firmly toward the top side. Streaks very well could be in your future, and maybe even a loss. And that is the final bullet. Takes down Awakening. 8 in a row for Matthew Piper, and that should be it. Put him to bed, get him off the map, says Formal, and that will be how we close it out. Formal on a 10 spree. As his name suggests, it's all business.
That's what we want to see out of Formal. That MVP caliber kind of player. He just took over in that final minute of the game. To go on a 10 spree from top lane with an assault rifle isn't easy. You got to fight SMGs up close. You got to fight ARs long distance. But he just makes it look easy with a tremendous shot there to eventually put OpTic up 2-1 in the series.
Let's take a look at this. 26 and 19. They're out of Formal, and you see it. Goes on the 10 spree to lock up this control. A major W there for OpTic to take. They bounce back off of the search and destroy woes. But could this be the final map of our day? Or will the Mutineers send us to a game 5? We're about to find out when we come back. It is Apocalypse our point.
I'm legendary. Yeah, you know. I'm legendary. Let's go! Out of the dust, a legend is born. Born for the game, born for the throne. Up from the ground, and out of the gates, I am the...
is a status reserved for a select few throughout history. For those remembered for more than just a name, it's a title even kings die in vain for.
Out of the dust, a legend is born. Born for the game, born for the throne.
Time gives us all one simple choice. You can be forgotten or become immortal.
You think he's done now? You think he's gonna stop here? You think you can stop aBeZy? Oh my God!
To be remembered is not enough, because anything less than legendary is failure.
Accuracy, though, they line up! They line up for accuracy and he wins it! Are you kidding? Accuracy with ice!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is playoffs, and what very well could be our final map of the day. It is OpTic Chicago versus the Florida Mutineers, and OpTic off of a nice victory. They're in the control, but they get the job done versus NYSL earlier. Granted, not the same result that they find themselves in now, but up 2-1. Apocalypse Hardpoint up next. Stud, how do you like their chances?
I really like their chances. If you go back and to see what they did versus New York, man, it was a complete smoke show.
Yeah.
Like, New York couldn't even break 100 points. OpTic looked like they are just really comfortable on this map. And for me, it all comes down to the start off. At least versus NYSL, they were able to chain that P1 immediately to that P2 and flip those spawns. Once you grow that lead, it's hard to try to bounce back in it. But if you're Florida, you need it because it's a win or go home situation.
Yeah.
You cannot go out like this.
Yeah, much like we saw in our last series, the team was kind of on the brink of elimination. They turned up and sent us to a game 5. But more on topic with FaZe, our top 5 for hardpoint KD so far throughout the season. And there you see it in that number 2 and number 3 position, Dashy from OpTic, and of course, it's Skies from the Mutineers.
Such a head-to-head battle between both of those guys, man. Like Dashy, we know what he's capable of, but at least as of recent for Skies, throughout all of Stage 5, he's just putting up some insane stats. So they're going to definitely need this guy to step up to keep their hopes and dreams alive or force it into that Game 5.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say you're looking out for those guys. You're also looking out for the SMGs on a map like Apocalypse. But folks, do we think we see it close it out here? Does OpTic get the job done on Apocalypse? I don't know, Stud. It wasn't as loud as I was hoping it would be. I'll be honest with you. I'll save it if we go to a Game 5, but it's on you guys if it goes to a Game 5. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Apocalypse, man, how do you feel about this? I know we talked about Skies. Obviously, you're looking at a few different players, but what needs to be done on this map? What do you think in terms of rotations, the way this map plays? What needs to be done out of the Mutineers?
Just based off of what map number 1 told us, it's like, you got to make sure you're doing the fundamentals. You can't have 4 people hitting the front and then giving the other team spawns, because on a map like Apocalypse, chains can happen. We all know the backside of Temple is better for P1 and P2, but P3 to P5 is all about that lower side. If they can just at least keep the fundamentals in play, making sure that these flipping these spawns, you don't really have to do a lot in the slaying department.
OpTic will hold the preferred spawns to start over here in Temple. Could this be the final map of the Mutineers season? As we'll look through the eyes of the man that ended off our first hardpoint on a 10 spree, now met with 3 players and not able to drop anybody, but Dashy to the rescue. Tries to at least stay alive for 1. And despite all of that push, the 3-man issue toward the backside of Temple, it's all for naught. OpTic hold them off, and now they've gotten every single second so far at P1.
I thought it was going to be a great stop for Florida because players don't usually do that. That's not the initial setup we usually see happen. But they were able to find that kill at Broken, but unfortunately, they just couldn't pick up any kills after that. So OpTic, they are still having the spawn for that P2 hardpoint, but finally Florida are able to break in towards P1. They have 20 seconds remaining. It's all about if they can break into this P2 hardpoint and not allow OpTic to grow such a big lead early.
And that was a huge fight, all things considered, as Formal also is able to take down Awakening. We had players spawning in No Man's, we had players spawning in Bottom Light, and so with that, OpTic, they regain, they find the big kills at the most important moment. And off of those 2 specifically, will hold control now for one of our money hills on this Apocalypse hardpoint map. It's Mutineers, 3 toward the back, inside of Temple. Envoy's gonna be the first player here, ready for the callouts, ready to issue those out. And so he'll be able to take down 1, and Scump will be there for the second. Final player here is going to be Skies, but Nonetheless, the job is done. Dashy shuts him down. That's 4 straight. Mutineers fall, and OpTic continue to remain inside the hill.
That was beautiful out of OpTic, man, especially Formal. He turns around and picks up that 3.
Okay!
Oh my God! Envoy, calm down. They have families. Nice 3 in the field for Envoy. OpTic are still growing this lead with 20 seconds remaining on this hard point. This is starting to get scary, man. Envoy starting to warm up. The players are holding down the pinches. OpTic are looking in the driver's seat, really comfortable right now.
The chance began, and Envoy's only continuing to heat on up. 8 and 4 for him. Does he have some words for Neptune? You bet he does. 4 in a row for Envoy as OpTic continue to roll here in Apocalypse. Finally, for a moment, the Mutineers get a chance to breathe. Havoc getting inside of the hill, but again, so they cannot be understated. OpTic have come out, and so far through our first few hills, they have shown that they are ready and they're firing.
It was all about the startup. I said that P1 to P2 is everything, especially on a map like Apocalypse. That's going to be a clean 4. Envoy with the flank, able to find 2. So now you see what number 3 in Scump is doing. He's thinking big picture. He's already off the rotation. He was a huge one-on-one versus Awakening. Dashy finds a 2nd. Envoy with the 3rd. And all of Florida are starting to spawn out towards Temple.
This is so dire already. If you're the Mutineers, as you said, Scump, he's thinking big picture. Envoy's winning every single fight that he gets involved with. This guy's finally able to take him down, and for our sake and for the crowd's sake, I think we probably would have lost our voices had he found that fight as well. But off of the rotation, now in toward Turtle. It is the Mutineers with some control, and boy, do they need this and then some. They'd be down by 40 points if they hold every single second, but it's OpTic with 3 in a row. Awakening. Now the sole player left inside of the hill. Thankfully, he and Neptune will join alongside each other, but it's OpTic with the trades. And at least keeping the Mutineers off of the hill, which is all that you really want to do. Considering that you have that next rotation, you at least contest, and you'll be in a good spot. A nice victory there for Scump, but it's Formal there, who drops to Neptune. So with that 25 seconds left, still, OpTic applying pressure.
Yeah, OpTic not trying to give this up. They know that if they get this 20 seconds, they will basically secure the spawns on the backside because the pressure's going to come in. Envoy and Scump. See how pushed out they are. Envoy's already low trenches. Scump trying to hold down the back. That's going to be 2 players down. So both of OpTic spawning out towards back temple. The pressure's going to be on towards Scump. Envoy and Scump going huge on the backside. Scump had to try to do it all. Unfortunately, he's going to drop. The spawns are coming in now for Florida towards the backside, but OpTic are in the point.
70-point lead for OpTic. Can they continue to build on this? As Dashy, farthest pushed up player right now from OpTic. He's got 2 members of the Mutineers to deal with. Make that 3. As Formal putting in some shots toward Awakening, his position is going to be revealed. Back and forth we go, but it's 3 down once more. OpTic continuing to do the dirty work. Well strategized and overall stud well played. They look for a moment like Mutineers may have had somewhat of a glimpse of glory, but it continues to go the way of Chicago, straight up slaying as they're about to have a 100+ lead.
And now this is where it gets scary because OpTic, they're just getting closer and closer to that finish line. If you're Florida, the response needs to be P1 to P2. You need to make sure you're keeping these spawns on the backside, and if you are, you have to get a good chunk of time off of this P1. You can't give it all up to OpTic as trades are currently going back and forth. They're doing a great job, though, of just keeping low trenches control. They're starting off with the initial time, forcing all of OpTic now to spawn out back P5.
Yeah, we talked about coming into this, how much influence was on a number of different players from the Mutineers. So far, Awakening having a solid game at 12 and 11. Somewhat similar situation for Skies, but Neptune at 7 and 16. A bit of a scary situation now when we talk about this next hill, as Neptune pretty much left in a very awkward spot. A huge moment in terms of the game. Can Neptune, off of what has been a shaky game so far, go big? And that will be 3. A great reply from the Mutineers, but it's not as if you need to have it. You have to have it, considering the advantage that OpTic have.
And now with 20 seconds left, if you're OpTic, you're not too mad. You just want to make sure you get on this time, get closer towards that 200-point mark. Trades going back and forth, but your big focus is on flipping these spawns. And Dashy and Envoy answer the call with 2. So now the pressure's going to be here. They can find a couple kills, at least right now. They can't hold their can, but Formal's going to be able to take down Skies. The trade is going to be there from Neptune, but Envoy's able to sniff him out. 1 player already from Florida, spawning all the way across the map. OpTic are breaking through the backside. Spawns are going to be flipped.
Dashy does drop from the front, but that only continues to emphasize the players inside the backside of the temple. Scump from the top rope, he gets taken down, and so does Envoy. Formal, that's going to be 3 in a row from the Mutineers. They're having to fight for every single second because now OpTic, they have got spawns here with Temple. They've got preferred positioning. With 30 seconds left, you cannot give this away. If you are the Mutineers, if you're the boys with those blue jerseys, you cannot get this one up. Big fights again from Formal. That's going to be 2. But as we take a look at that scorecard stud, I mean, obviously it's indicated, it is clear. The weapons have been firing so well from OpTic. Every time the Mutineers get a second of freedom, they get some time to really kind of bring this game back. It's OpTic with straight slaying inside of the feed.
Yeah, OpTic are really turning up, man. And they did a great job right there at P2 of not giving Florida the full 60 seconds. They were being such a nuisance on the backside that Florida only able to get about 25 seconds off of that hard point. So now off the rotation, Envoy with 2 in the feed. Gonna be jumping down from top TV is gonna be Dashy, so they're able to break in. That's gonna be a clean 4 dead, and now OpTic have flipped the spawns, spawning all of Florida towards back Temple, but with Formal puts up that deep, they're gonna flip him right back.
Envoy drops off of the next rotation. 200 to 129. Mutineers have got to dig deep, down 70 points. What have they got up their sleeves? As that'll be 3, that'll be 4, and of course, it's Formal. H4F looking so good so far throughout this hard point as he sits now on the 5 spree. The rotation now is the focus here toward Turtle. Dashy is ready, but Skies with the great reaction, the snap to take down Bruce. It's Mutineers with some moments and with an opportunity, but they have got to get a full 60 here on Turtle. So many things to think about, but a 60-second hill here would be the key to bring this one back.
And that's gonna be 2 dead. They can break right in. Scump jumps right through Tiki. It's all on Neptune. He's gonna drop. The spawns are gonna be flipped. Only one player on this side of the map is gonna be Awakening. He has to try to go big and at least stall some time for his teammates to get back into the play as they're approaching through the middle of the map. OpTic are spawning in the back. They take him down. They can focus everything on Tiki and front side. That's gonna be 2. Scump goes huge with another 2 of his own. Clean 4 dead. OpTic can close it out on this one.
OpTic can close it out here. At least 10 seconds needed to contest if you are the Mutineers, if you want to try and stay alive in this game, but will they even have the opportunity to even see the hill is the question. 3 players trying to make their way in as Formal does get taken down. 5 seconds needed from OpTic Chicago. Mutineers with the final few seconds as they will be able to get a few bit of seconds over at Turtle. It's 2:47 now left, 3 more points. Mutineers are gonna have to pull off a miracle. It feels like it's just a matter of time before this slaying train continues to roll on through. Neptune inside of the hill, it's all on to him as he gets traded out. It's Dashy, and that will be it. OpTic Chicago responding valiantly here in the hard points. We thought for a moment the Mutineers could really begin to contest them, a roster that throughout the entirety of the season has had upset potential. But today is not that day.
Just not, man. OpTic, they redeemed themselves, man, especially in the respawns. S&D needs a little bit of work. Still challenging a couple individual things, but just the way that they came out firing on all cylinders in both hard points and the control. Formal stepped up. Envoy went huge in that map number 4. Scump picking up 2 pieces left and right. OpTic has finally woken up, and they will be moving on to tomorrow.
They will. That's a good sign to see, obviously, if you're an OpTic fan. But if you sit on the side of the Mutineers, this is where your year comes to a close. It has to hurt. It obviously cannot feel good to go out after day 1, but OpTic come through, and they look absolutely excellent in both of these hard points. Really winning by a similar scoreline. What was 250, like 163, I want to say, in the first hard point. Here it's 250 to 159. A number of different players going off, but let's go and see how our bracket is shaping up after day 1 here at Championship Weekend, here at Playoffs. And after that victory, OpTic will in fact be playing the loser, I believe, of Ultra versus Empire, I want to say. So with that in mind, this is the way that things look. Again, some interesting results, some crazy things at that, and look at that. All right. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Dashy's daddy? All right. Okay.
Might be daddy. Might be.
He very well might be.
Great player. Great player.
He looked
that's
good.
For sure.
He looked good today. Let's just go put it that way, or at least in regards to this series versus the Mutineers. But I got to say, all things considered coming into this, you said 3-0, ends up being a 3-1?
Just got to work on the search and destroy, man. There's way too much individual plays happening. People are trying to not taking calculated risks. There's no teamwork on the map, and that's just something OpTic's got to go back and watch because there's no way they make it to Sunday without winning search and destroys.
Yeah, absolutely. Search and destroy is going to be the focus, and I know many teams looking at VOD trying to work on things after day one, but that's going to do it for us here. Let's go and sit it down to Jess.
Lando, thank you so much. I am here on stage with King Scump for your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. Let's make some noise. So congratulations on that win. I mean, that was a tough opening round loss for you guys, but you rebounded to live another day. How do you assess the way the team was playing today?
I think we played pretty poorly, honestly. I mean, and that only comes from the first 2 maps against New York. I mean, we put ourselves in a really big hole and we weren't playing like ourselves at all. And we've had that problem throughout the year. But once we got comfortable, we almost came back with the reverse sweep if a couple other things go our way. So we picked it up on the latter half of the day, but we got to come out hot tomorrow for sure.
Well, we've been saying all year long that a team as talented as yours is dangerous, and I mean, you know these kinds of events better than anyone else, so what do you guys need to do to really make a run for the title?
We just need to stop making mistakes. I mean, we keep shooting ourselves in the foot, as cliche as it sounds. I mean, we can't be making mistakes in searches like we're making. Our respawn looks great, but if we can get our search up there with respawn, I think that we definitely have a chance to come all the way back.
So tomorrow you're going to face the loser of Ultra versus Empire. Is there a team that you think that you match up better against?
I mean, probably Empire, because Ultra has our number. But honestly, either one, we have to beat everyone to win champs. So whoever falls, you know, we're going to take on.
Cannot wait to watch that. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Once again, this has been your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. Make some noise for Scump as we send it back over to the casters.
Thank you so much, Jess, and indeed, some wise words there for the King. As we said, you know what, we escaped the day, but that was not the objective. The objective is still yet to come, and we go from the King now to the Prince, as that is going to be Envoy for our scuff play of the game, and we got to give some love to the crowd before we even see that play, as the hype, they led to it, and they allowed for it to happen, stud. I mean, what, man? Just a great overall performance from this guy throughout the entirety of the map.
Yeah, he was going huge, but this 3-piece was absolutely disgusting. I couldn't even believe it. He goes on to eventually find the 4th as well. He was just having himself at least a map. I feel like Envoy throughout that series, or at least today, wasn't playing to his potential.
Yeah.
The guy has a level that he can reach, and today he wasn't at it, but hopefully tomorrow is a turnaround for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's undoubted, right? We know the talent that this OpTic roster has, and it was a little bit surprising that they do lose to the Subliners, given the fact that it was a new roster, but the search and destroy will continue to remain the topic around this team, Stud, I think it's fair to say. Search and destroy?
Yeah, definitely search and destroy. They're 0-3 so far throughout the champs weekend. You gotta fix it. The individual plays, even at Scump, we're making too many mistakes. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. You cannot win a championship by losing search and destroys.
Without a doubt, my friend, but that will be a closeout here at day number 1 here at playoffs. But the action is not, in fact, over. When we come back after the break, it is our desk. It's Miles, Chance, and Nameless breaking down the day and setting up day 2 here at playoffs.
I'm legendary. You know. Let's go. Out of the dust, a legend is born. Born for the game, born for the throne. Up from the ground, and out of the gates, I am the storm.
And what a day it has been. We now come to the close of our first day of the CDL playoffs here, and boy, howdy, has it been something. My name is Miles, I'm joined by Chance and Nameless here on the desk. We're going to break down what's happened today, but before we get to that, a look back at what we have seen today. Of course, our first match of the day, a swift 3-0. Empire really coming out the gates hot, taking care of Røkkr. After that, the Subliners, a 3-2, a Game 5 slobber knocker against OpTic. Of course, Retribution would later be had there as OpTic now take care of the Mutineers. We also say farewell to the Thieves. The LA Thieves make their departure there. Another Game 5 heartbreak. However, we've just set the stage for more fun in games.